The paradox of stability. Why safety may be your biggest trap. Are you really living or just existing inside a golden cage called stability? This isn't a dramatic question. It's a necessary one. Because for years, maybe decades, you've been told a lie that sounds comforting, even noble. That stability is the goal. From a young age, society drills it into your mind like gospel. Get a safe job. Don't take unnecessary risks. Settle down. Stay consistent. Don't rock the boat. And we listen. Why? Because stability feels like security. It feels like you're doing the right thing. It's rewarded. It's praised. It's predictable. But here's the uncomfortable truth. What you call stability might actually be stagnation, dressed up in a nice suit. The illusion of safety. Let's break it down. You wake up at the same time, drive the same route, go to the same job, collect the same paycheck. You tell yourself you're responsible. You're doing the adult thing. And sure, to some degree, that's true. But what happens next year? What happens in 5 years? What's different? If your answer is not much, then it's time to ask the real question. What are you trading away for the illusion of security? Because make no mistake, you are paying for that stability. You're paying with time, energy, freedom, and potential that will never come back. The comfortable cage. Stability is like a warm bath. It soothes you, it relaxes you, and if you stay in it long enough, it numbs you. Before you know it, 5, 10, 20 years have passed, and you're still in the same place. Same job, same income, same stress, same dreams, unfulfilled. Stability doesn't just stop growth, it kills it, quietly. And the worst part? You won't even realize it's happening, because it feels so normal. I've got a steady paycheck, that's enough. I have a job with benefits, why risk it? At least I'm not struggling like others. That's how most people think, and that's exactly why most people stay stuck. Stagnation is the hidden cost. There's a hidden cost to every decision you make in the name of playing it safe. That promotion you never went after, that business you never started, that move you never made, that investment you avoided, all because what if it doesn't work? But here's the better question. What if it would have? You'll never know. And that's the price of safety. You don't lose with a bang. You lose with a whisper. Slowly, quietly, comfortably, until the day you wake up, look in the mirror, and realize you've settled. Rich people know this. Here's where the mindset shift begins. Rich people understand the paradox. They know that real growth never happens in comfort. They know that uncertainty isn't the enemy, it's the entry fee to everything worth having. While the poor and middle class cling to predictability, the rich lean into uncertainty. They understand that discomfort is the path to reward. They don't avoid risk, they learn how to manage it. The truth is, stability is a tool the system uses to keep you small. Uncertainty is the train where growth begins. Final thought for part 1. Let's be clear, stability isn't always bad, but if it becomes your default mode of living, it will quietly destroy your potential. Ask yourself honestly, are you stable or just stuck? Are you safe or are you shrinking? Are you surviving or are actually living? Because the longer you choose stability as your highest value, the more you push freedom, wealth, and personal evolution out of reach. The ones who change the world, build wealth, and break free, they trade certainty for the unknown, not because it's easy, but because they know it's the only way up. Comfort zones are cash traps. Your comfort zone might feel like home, but it's quietly stealing your future. Let's talk about comfort. Not the kind that refreshes you, like rest, warmth, or a hug. We're talking about habitual comfort. The mental prison that looks like peace, but is really a trap. Your comfort zone is the place where everything is predictable. Nothing feels risky. And most dangerously, nothing grows. It's the land of maybe tomorrow, the kingdom of I'm not ready yet, the fortress of at least it's not worse. But here's the brutal truth. Comfort zones are where dreams go to die. The silent killer of wealth. Most people don't fail because of big mistakes. They fail because they stayed where it felt safe for too long. Ask yourself this, when was the last time you learned something that scared you? When was the last time you did something that made your stomach flip? When was the last time you took a leap without knowing the exact outcome? If your answer is, I can't remember, then guess what? You've been living inside a comfort trap, not a life of growth. Comfort versus growth, you can't have both. Growth is uncomfortable. It requires new skills, new environments, new levels of responsibility, new levels of exposure. That's why most people run from it. It feels hard, it feels uncertain, it challenges your identity, but that's the point. Growth demands sacrifice, and what you have to sacrifice first is comfort. Rich people understand this at a deep level. They know that the stretch zone, where things feel shaky, unclear, and a bit scary, is exactly where their future lives. While most people avoid those zones like the plague, the rich seek them out like treasure maps. How comfort drains your wallet? Let's get specific. Here's how staying comfortable makes you poor. 1. You avoid risk, so you miss rewards. You don't invest. You don't ask for a raise. You don't start that side hustle. You don't pitch that idea. All because, what if it doesn't work? So it never does. 2. You repeat old patterns, so you stay broke. You do what you've always done. And what you've always done gives you exactly what you've always had. No growth, no upgrades, just a loop. 3. You choose ease over effort, so you fall behind. Learning new things is hard, but guess what's harder? Being irrelevant, being replaceable, being 40 years old with no skill the world needs anymore. Comfort now, crisis later. The rich choose discomfort on purpose. This is one of the most important mindset shifts you can ever make. Comfort is not your goal. It's your signal. And when you feel it for too long, it's time to move. Rich people build habits around getting uncomfortable. They wake up early. They enter rooms where they're the smallest player. They ask questions that make them feel dumb until they're smart. They invest money where there's risk because that's where returns live. They train their nervous system to survive in discomfort. And that's why they keep expanding. Your brain wants comfort. Your future doesn't. Here's the biological reality. Your brain is designed to protect you, not to grow you. It seeks predictability, familiarity, safety, which means it freaks out when you try something new. So your job isn't to listen blindly to fear. Your job is to interpret it. If something feels uncomfortable, it doesn't mean stop. It might mean you're on the edge of transformation. Escaping the trap, what you must do now. Let's make it practical. How do you start breaking out of the comfort zone cash trap? 1. Do one thing every week that makes you nervous. Ask for something, try something, speak up, stretch. 2. Follow the fear, not the comfort. If something feels too safe, ask yourself why. If it feels scary but exciting, lean in. 3. Track progress, not perfection. You won't win every risk, but you'll win by becoming someone who takes smart risks consistently. 4. Upgrade your environment. Hang around people who normalize growth, discomfort, and change. Your comfort zone is shaped by your surroundings. Change them. Your comfort zone doesn't care about your dreams, it cares about keeping you still. Still is equal to safe is equal to stuck. If you want wealth, real, life-changing wealth,
You must be willing to trade comfort for discomfort again and again. Because the money you want, the freedom you crave, the life you imagine, it's just outside your comfort zone. And it's waiting for you to be brave enough to go get it.
Two paths, safety or growth, a 10-year difference. In 10 years, you won't be asking which path was easier. You'll be asking, why didn't I choose the one that changed me? Let's get personal. Let's make this real. Imagine two people. Same age, same level of education, same starting salary, same ambition at the beginning. We'll call them Anna and Jake. At age 25, they both land decent jobs with stable income. They're both driven, both full of dreams. But then they make different choices. And 10 years later, they live in two very different worlds. Let's break it down. Anna chooses the path of safety. Anna believes in playing it safe. She stays in her first job because it's secure. She doesn't negotiate her salary because, at least I have a job. She avoids side hustles because, what if I fail? She doesn't invest because the market is risky. She spends weekends unwinding, not building. She sticks with her friends who say things like, be grateful, don't be greedy. Work hard and things will come. Years pass. Her life looks stable on the surface, but behind the scenes, she's plateaued. Her salary grows slowly, capped by company policy. Her skills stay the same. She's now 35, with little savings, no passive income, and a resume that looks like it's stuck in 2018. And worst of all, what she feels is invisible, replaceable, safe on the outside, but unfulfilled inside. Jake chooses the path of growth. Jake takes a different route. He also starts with a stable job, but he treats it as a launch pad, not a landing zone. In his first year, he takes night classes to improve high-income skills. He starts a small freelance gig on weekends. He reads books on investing. He builds a new network online. He applies for a new job every 1 to 2 years, each time demanding a higher role and better pay. He negotiates, he moves, he adapts. He takes a calculated risk on a startup role. It's chaotic, but he learns like crazy. He invests 10 to 20% of his income into stocks and assets, not things. And most importantly, he's not afraid to be uncomfortable. Fast forward 10 years. His income has tripled. He owns equity in a growing company. He has multiple streams of income. He's confident, connected, and constantly evolving. He's not lucky. He just chose growth over comfort every single time. The 10-year gap. Same start, different finish. Let's look at the result. Anna chose stability. Jake chose growth. Now it's 10 years later. Anna still earns a modest salary. She's stuck in the same company. Her savings are small. She has no investments. Her skills haven't changed much. And deep down, she feels stuck. Invisible, replaceable. Safe on the outside, but unfulfilled inside. Jake, on the other hand, is living a different life. He earns 3 times more. He's grown into leadership roles. He has equity in businesses. He invests consistently. He learns every year. His confidence is built from experience. And he controls his time, not the other way around. What made the difference? Not intelligence, not luck, not a rich family. Just this. Anna avoided discomfort. Jake pursued growth. They both worked hard. They both spent time and energy, but only one of them moved forward. Because effort alone isn't enough. If you don't evolve, you stay stuck, no matter how hard you try. Growth is the harder path, and that's the point. Let's be honest, Jake's path was messy. He got rejected. He failed at a few things. He had months of uncertainty. But every challenge made him sharper. He learned faster. He earned better. He adapted quicker. Meanwhile, Anna avoided risk and ended up risking everything. Her time, her earning potential, her future. Because avoiding growth doesn't keep you safe. It just keeps you small. Your 10 years start now.
Here's the reality check. The next decade is going to pass no matter what you do. The only question is, will it compound comfort or will it compound growth? Every day you're choosing a path whether you realize it or not. Every "I'll wait until" is a step toward stagnation. Every "let's try this and learn" is a step toward wealth. If you keep doing what feels easy today, you'll live a life that feels hard later. But if you do what feels hard now, you'll build a life that feels free later. You don't need to be a genius to get rich. You don't need perfect timing or a lucky break. You just need one thing: the courage to grow when it's easier to settle. So ask yourself, where will I be in 10 years if I keep living like this? What if I choose growth starting now? Because the difference between a stuck life and a wealthy one isn't made in one moment. It's made in 10,000 quiet choices, starting with this one.
The rich seek opportunity, the poor seek permission. Poor people wait for permission. Rich people create opportunity. Let that sink in. Because this one difference, this one mindset, changes everything. It's the line between being stuck and being free. Permission is a cage. Most people live their entire lives asking for permission. Is this the right time? Do I have enough experience? Will people approve? What if they say no? What if I fail? So they wait, and wait, and wait. They wait for the boss to promote them. They wait for the economy to improve. They wait for a course, a mentor, a guarantee. They wait for someone, anyone, to say, "Now it's your turn." But here's the truth. If you need permission to grow, you'll never grow. Because no one's coming to hand it to you. Not your boss, not your parents, not society, not the universe. Rich people don't ask, they act. Rich people don't wait for a green light. They build their own roads. They don't wait for someone to choose them. They choose themselves. They don't need the world to approve. They move with confidence, even in silence. They start businesses without credentials. They make offers without titles. They create value before anyone believes in them. They don't need permission because they understand that opportunity is self-made. The psychology of waiting. Why do poor and middle-class people ask for permission? Because they were trained to. School taught you to raise your hand before speaking, to wait to be called on, to follow rules, to seek approval, to do what you're told. And so you grow up, afraid to lead, afraid to move first, afraid to be wrong. This mindset turns people into lifelong employees, even when they hate their jobs. It kills creativity. It punishes boldness. It rewards obedience. And it's one of the biggest reasons people stay broke. Opportunity doesn't knock, you kick the door open. Let's make this simple. There are two types of people in this world. Type 1, they wait to be invited. They ask, "Do you think I can?" They fear rejection. They wait for signs. And when nothing happens, they stay put. Type 2, they move first. They say, "I'll figure it out." They expect rejection and go anyway. They create momentum. And when nothing happens, they make something happen. Rich people are type 2, always. Creating opportunity in real life. You don't need permission to start a YouTube channel, build a side hustle, offer a service, learn a new skill, raise your prices, make a pitch, ask for a sale, apply for a better job, walk away from a dead-end situation. You just need one thing: the willingness
to go first. That's what separates leaders from followers, winners from waiters, the wealthy from the stuck, the myth of not ready yet. But here's a trap that keeps people small. I'm not ready yet. But let me ask you this. Who told you you're not ready? Where's the rule book that says you need someone's approval? Who gets to decide when you're qualified enough to begin? The answer is simple. You do. You decide. You start. You fall. You learn. You adjust. You rise. That's how growth works. That's how wealth is built. Permission is an illusion. Opportunity is a choice. If you keep waiting, someone else will take what could have been yours. Not because they were better, but because they moved faster. So stop asking, is it okay if I start asking, what can I build today before anyone says yes? Because wealthy people don't wait to be chosen. They choose themselves. And that one decision, it changes everything.
Stability is not a goal, it's a ceiling. If stability is your destination, don't be surprised when you stop moving. We've been told our whole lives that stability is the goal. A stable job, a stable income, a stable routine, a stable life. It sounds reasonable. It sounds smart. It sounds responsible. But let me ask you this. What if stability isn't the finish line? It's the limit. Stability feels like success until it becomes a wall. When you finally get the job, when you finally buy the house, when you finally settle down, what happens next? For most people, nothing. No new skills, no new risks, no new levels. They stop reaching, they stop building, they stop growing. Because stability tells you, you've made it, don't mess it up. But here's the hard truth. If you stop climbing, gravity takes over. There's no such thing as standing still. You're either growing or you're shrinking. Comfort is the enemy of progress. Let's be clear, stability isn't evil, but when it becomes your destination instead of your foundation, it turns toxic. It makes you lazy, it makes you blind, it makes you slow, because you think you're safe. But in a world that changes every day, staying the same is the most dangerous thing you can do. Think about this. Technology is moving, markets are shifting, skills are evolving, competitors are coming, and you're sitting in the same seat, doing the same thing year after year because it's stable. That's not security, that's stagnation. The ceiling that looks like a floor. Let's use a metaphor. Stability is like standing on the first floor of a tall building. It's clean, it's comfortable, you've got a nice view. But above you are 10 more levels, each with better views, more opportunities, more freedom. Yet you stay on level 1. Why? Because there's a sign that says, you're safe here, no need to climb. And you believe it. So you never take the stairs, you never explore what's above. Meanwhile, someone else, less talented than you, is up on level 10, living the life you could have had, just because they were willing to keep going. Rich people use stability as a launch pad, not a lifeboat. Here's the difference in mindset. Poor and middle-class people chase stability as an end goal. They crave the job, the paycheck, the routine, and then they stop. Rich people use stability as a platform to take bigger risks. They earn stability, and then they invest it. They build systems, not routines. They grow assets, not comfort zones. They say, now that I'm stable, what can I build? Now that I have a foundation, how high can I go? They don't worship stability, they leverage it. Why stability feels good and destroys potential? Let's be honest, stability feels good. No fear, no surprises, no judgment,
no uncertainty. But it also comes with a cost. No learning, no discovery, no expansion, no wealth. The same walls that protect you also confine you. You're not in danger, but you're not going anywhere either. And that's not living, that's surviving. Break the ceiling before it becomes your coffin. If you're comfortable right now, that's great. But don't stop there. Ask yourself, what's the next level? Where am I still playing small? How can I use this stability to grow, not just stay still? Because life will test you. The market will shift. Jobs will disappear. Health will decline. Emergencies will come. And if all you have is stability, with no growth, no leverage, no freedom, you'll be left scrambling. Stability is not the goal. It's the ground floor. It's not where you stop, it's where you start. So if you found comfort, good. Now build something from it. Grow something on top of it. Risk something for the next level. Because the people who rise in life aren't the ones who stop when it's safe. They're the ones who ask, now that I've survived, how do I thrive?
Fear of failure, society's most powerful tool of control. Fear doesn't just hold you back. It's how the world keeps you in place. Let's talk about failure. Not the kind that crushes your life, but the fear of it. The silent, creeping fear that stops you before you even start. That fear, it's not natural. It's not your instinct. It's programmed. And it's one of the most powerful tools society uses to keep you small. You were taught to fear failure. From the moment you were a child, the world trained you. Don't mess up. Don't raise your hand if you're not sure. Stick to what you're good at. Play it safe. Be realistic. Sound familiar? In school, failure meant embarrassment, a red X, a bad grade, a disappointed parent. At work, failure means consequences. Getting fired, losing status, being judged. In life, failure is painted as shameful, something to hide, something to fear. So what do most people do? They avoid risk. They avoid exposure. They avoid growth. And worst of all, they avoid becoming just to avoid failing. Fear becomes a cage. Let's be clear. Fear of failure doesn't just stop action. It shapes identity. It makes you choose smaller goals, stay in safer jobs, avoid bold conversations, say no to opportunity, and live below your potential. Not because you're weak, but because you've been taught that mistakes are dangerous. They're not. Mistakes are tuition. Fear is the lie that says you can't afford it. The rich rewire this fear. Here's the difference. Poor and middle-class people see failure as final. Rich people see failure as feedback. They know a failed business is experience. A rejected pitch is redirection. A lost investment is education. A setback is just a setup for the next move. They don't avoid failure. They calculate it. They study it. They extract value from it. Because they know this truth. Failure hurts, but fear of failure destroys. Why society wants you afraid? Let's go deeper. Why does society feed your fear? Simple. Because scared people are easier to control. If you're afraid to speak up, you obey. If you're afraid to try, you comply. If you're afraid to leave, you stay. If you're afraid to fail, you never rise. And that's good for the system, because the system isn't built to make you free. It's built to make you useful, to keep you productive but predictable, ambitious but obedient. So fear becomes the invisible fence around your life, and most people never even question it. Failure is not the enemy. Silence is. Let me ask you this. What's worse, failing in public or never being known at all? Losing money on a bold move or never earning more than survival? Taking a chance and falling short or staying in the exact same place year after year? The real enemy
is not falling down. It's standing still out of fear. How to break the programming. You don't have to live like this. You can unlearn the fear. You can rewire your response. Here's how. 1. Expect failure, not perfection. If you're doing anything bold, you'll fail. It's part of the process. Own it. Learn fast, move forward. 2. Redefine failure. It's not a verdict, it's data. It shows you what doesn't work so you can find what does. 3. Take controlled risks. Don't gamble, but do test, try, build, and explore in small, strategic steps. 4. Build a failure resume. Every failure you survive becomes your advantage. It toughens your mindset. It sharpens your instincts. It humbles your ego. And most of all, it sets you free. Fear of failure is a lie. One you were taught, one you inherited, one you're allowed to destroy. Because the truth is, the people who rise in life are not the ones who avoid failure. They're the ones who walk through it and come out stronger. So the next time you feel fear pulling you back, ask yourself, am I afraid to fail or am I afraid to grow? Because in this life, you either fail trying or fail by never trying at all. The rich don't need guarantees. They need leverage. Poor people wait for guarantees. Rich people look for leverage. It's one of the clearest mindset divides in the world. The poor and middle class say, I'll act when it feels certain. Show me proof first. I just need a guarantee. The rich say, nothing is certain, but how can I make the odds favor me? Where's the leverage? Let's move before it's obvious. That shift alone changes lives. Because here's the truth. Security feels good, but leverage creates freedom. Why do most people crave guarantees? Let's start with this. Why do most people demand guarantees? Because they fear loss. They fear mistakes. They fear blame. They fear pain. So they say, I'll start when it's safer. I'll invest when it's proven. I'll act when someone else goes first. They want safety wrapped in certainty. They want to know it'll work before they do the work. But here's the reality. Life doesn't come with guarantees, and waiting for them is how you miss every opportunity. The rich think in probabilities, not promises. Wealthy people understand a simple rule. There are no certainties, only calculated risks. They think like investors. They look at upside versus downside. They measure odds, timing, risk, and return. And then they move. They know 70% right and fast beats 100% perfect and late. Learning by doing is better than waiting for approval. And most people lose because they wait for permission that never comes. So they stop asking, is it guaranteed? And start asking, how do I tilt the game in my favor? What is leverage? Leverage is the key word. It means doing more with less, multiplying your time, energy, and resources, using tools, systems, people, or skills to amplify results. Rich people don't just work hard, they work smart with leverage. They don't need everything to be perfect, they just need an edge, an advantage, a point of leverage. And once they find it, they press in. Examples of leverage the rich use. Let's get practical. Here's how rich people use leverage. 1. Money leverage. They invest, not just save. Their dollars work while they sleep. They take controlled financial risks that grow over time. 2. Skill leverage. They master high-value skills like sales, persuasion, coding, leadership. Skills that pay exponentially, not hourly. 3. Network leverage. They build relationships that unlock deals, talent, capital, and access. They know one conversation can change their entire trajectory. 4. System leverage. They create businesses, automations, and content that scale. One product, one funnel, one investment that pays them repeatedly. 5. time leverage. They delegate. They buy back their time. They focus on vision, not just execution. Leverage is how the rich do less and earn more. How they risk more but fall less. How they move faster and go further. Why guarantees are a trap? Let's flip the script. Guarantees feel good, but they cost you. They make you wait. They make you cautious. They keep you dependent. You ask, will all work 100%? Can someone promise me results? But here's the truth. There's no guarantee your job won't disappear. There's no guarantee your savings won't lose value. There's no guarantee your life won't be disrupted by things you can't control. So why live like you need guarantees? Why not build leverage so you can move regardless of the conditions? How to shift into a leverage mindset? Here's how you make the switch. 1. Stop seeking certainty, start building skill. Skill gives you options, and options are better than guarantees. 2. Look for multipliers, not just effort. Ask, what can scale? What can grow while I sleep? Where can I apply the same input and get bigger outputs? 3. Take imperfect action fast. Speed beats perfection. You can't optimize what you haven't started. 4. Think like an investor, not an employee. Where can I plant seeds now that will compound later? Where can I risk small for large upside? Guarantees are illusions. They feel safe, but they keep you still. Leverage is real power. It feels risky, but it moves you forward. So stop asking, can someone promise me this will work? Start asking, how can I build leverage so I don't need anyone's promise? Because the rich don't wait for guarantees. They build momentum. They use leverage, and they move before it's obvious.
Ignorance of risk is the real risk. It's not risk that ruins people. It's not knowing what they're risking. We've been told to fear risk. Don't invest, it's risky. Don't start a business, it's risky. Don't try something new, it's risky. So we play it safe. We stick to what we know, we avoid the unknown. But here's the truth. Risk doesn't destroy people. Blindness to risk does. Because the most dangerous risk is the one you don't even know you're taking. Everything has risk, even doing nothing. Let's make one thing clear. There is no such thing as a risk-free life. That's a myth, a fantasy, a lie. You think playing it safe protects you? Think again. Staying in the same job for 10 years is risky. Living on one income stream is risky. Never learning new skills is risky. Avoiding investments is risky. Letting fear make your decisions? Extremely risky. The question is not, should I take risks? The real question is, which risks am I already taking without realizing it? The poor and middle-class people focus on the visible risks. Losing money, getting embarrassed, being rejected, making a mistake. So they avoid big moves. But in doing that, they accept invisible risks, like wasting years, missing opportunities, living below their potential, regretting the life they never lived. They think they're being smart, but they're gambling everything on the false belief that safety exists. The rich understand risk intimately. Here's what wealthy people do differently. They don't ignore risk. They study it. They quantify it. They prepare for it. They ask, what's the worst case scenario? How likely is that? Can I afford the loss? What's the upside if it works? And how do I minimize risk without eliminating opportunity? They know that smart risk is the price of wealth, and ignorance is the true danger. Risk is not just financial. It's mental, emotional, and time-based. There are risks most people never talk about. Mental risk, becoming stagnant, irrelevant, outdated. Emotional risk, living a life of regret, bitterness, and what-ifs. Time risk, wasting the one resource you can't get back, your life.
You may never lose your job. You may never go broke. But if you stay small, scared, and stuck, you lose anyway. The irony, the safer it feels, the riskier it often is. Let's flip your thinking. The safe job could be eliminated tomorrow. The secure pension could be wiped by inflation. The stable economy can crash overnight. The safe plan might leave you broke at 60. And yet, the risky skill you learn could make you recession-proof. The risky investment could unlock freedom. The risky leap might change your entire trajectory. The biggest risk is trusting the illusion of safety. How to get smarter about risk? It's not about being fearless. It's about being aware. Here's how the rich approach it. 1. Know the risk of not acting. Every choice has a cost, including staying still. 2. Break risk. Don't just say it's risky. Ask, what exactly could go wrong? How likely is it? 3. Start small, learn fast. Risk doesn't mean betting everything. It means testing, adjusting, evolving. 4. Learn from other people's risks. Study case studies. Find mentors. Avoid rookie mistakes by watching how the smart ones play. You've been told risk is the enemy. That's wrong. Risk is the cost of entry to anything great. But ignorance, that's the real killer. Because when you don't understand risk, you either overreact and do nothing, or underprepare and lose everything. So don't avoid risk. Understand it, respect it, then take it with clarity and courage. Because wealth doesn't go to the one who avoids risk. It goes to the one who knows exactly what they're risking and moves anyway.
False peace: how predictability hides decay. Just because it feels calm doesn't mean it's not collapsing. There's a kind of peace that's not really peace. It's just nothing changing. No movement, no challenge, no surprises. It feels like stability, but if you look closely, it's decay. Because life that doesn't evolve slowly dies. And predictability? It's the perfect hiding place for that kind of slow death. The comfort of routine and the danger within. You wake up at the same time. Go to work. Do your tasks. Come home. Repeat. It feels efficient. It feels manageable. It feels safe. But here's the trap. Predictability numbs your senses. And while you're not paying attention, time is slipping, skills are fading, and chances are vanishing. You say, nothing's wrong. But that's exactly the problem. Nothing is growing either. Decay doesn't make noise. Most people expect failure to look dramatic, like a crash or an explosion. But that's not how it works. Decay is quiet. Decay is polite. Decay whispers, "You're fine. You've got time. At least you're not doing worse." Meanwhile, opportunities drift away. Your edge dulls. Your ambition fades. And one day you realize, you're not where you were. You're behind. The cost of predictability is invisible at first. When you do the same things every day, in the same place, with the same people, making the same choices, you don't notice what you're missing. You think you're maintaining, but you're slowly declining. Your knowledge becomes outdated. Your relevance shrinks. Your creativity dries up. Your energy lowers. You think you're coasting, but you're actually drifting backward. Predictability is a drug.
and society pushes it hard. Why is predictability so seductive? Because it removes uncertainty. It gives the illusion of control. It feels like safety, even if it's just stagnation. That's why the system promotes it. Fixed schedules, standard salaries, predictable routines, step-by-step lives. You become predictable, and predictable people are easier to manage. But freedom? That lives in chaos, in creativity, in risk, in movement. Predictability is comfort for the body, but it's a prison for the mind. How the rich break the cycle of decay. Wealthy people don't let predictability run their lives. They embrace systems but disrupt patterns. They look for change before it's forced. They evolve before they're irrelevant. Here's what they do. Travel to learn. Meet new people to challenge ideas. Enter new markets before they're popular. Ask uncomfortable questions. Reinvent themselves regularly. Because they know, if life feels too still, something's probably rotting beneath the surface. Signs you're living in false peace. You might not feel bad right now, but here are warning signs. You haven't learned anything new in 6 months. Your income hasn't moved in years. You feel numb more than excited. You haven't felt nervous about anything you're building. You can predict every week of your life perfectly. That's not peace. That's the beginning of decline. How to escape the trap. Here's how to trade false peace for purposeful growth. 1. Inject novelty into your life. Try something uncomfortable. Learn something foreign. Disrupt your routine before life does it for you. 2. Measure growth, not just maintenance. Track skill upgrades, income increases, confidence gains, not just survival. 3. Audit your time. Is your calendar filled with progress or repetition? If every day looks the same, that's your sign. 4. Make decisions that stretch you. Not reckless, but real. If it doesn't scare you a little, it's probably not growth. Calm isn't always peace. Silence isn't always safety. And predictability isn't always progress. Sometimes what you call peace is just a quiet version of decline. So stop asking, does my life feel stable? Start asking, does my life feel alive? Because the wealthy don't chase comfort. They chase growth, even when it means shaking the ground they stand on.
When you stop growing, the world leaves you behind. You don't fall behind because you're slow. You fall behind because you stop. Growth isn't a luxury. It's not a bonus. It's not nice to have. It's survival. Because the world is not waiting for you. It's not slowing down. It's not pressing pause while you figure things out. It's moving fast. And if you're not moving with it, you're being left behind. The myth of maintenance. A lot of people believe they can just maintain their position, keep doing what they've always done, hold their ground. But here's the truth. There is no neutral. You're either growing or you're falling behind. Because while you stay the same, someone else is learning more. Someone else is adapting faster. Someone else is building better. Someone else is becoming who you were supposed to be. Time doesn't pause.
it compounds. Every day you spend staying the same, the world compounds without you. Technology advances, trends shift, new markets rise, new voices take over. And you? Still doing what worked 5 years ago, still holding on to a version of yourself that the world has already outgrown. You're not being punished, you're just being outpaced. The cost of stopping is invisible until it's too late. Here's what no one tells you. The job you're good at today, it may not exist in 5 years. The skills you mastered last decade might be worthless next year. The market that once paid you well might forget your name. Not because you're bad, not because you're lazy, but because you stopped. And when you stop, the world doesn't. Growth isn't just about money, it's about relevance. Yes, growth brings income, but more than that, it brings value. It keeps you sharp. It keeps you needed. It keeps you relevant, because relevance is the real currency. If you lose that, it doesn't matter how smart, kind, or experienced you are, you'll be replaced. Silently. Quickly. Permanently. Why the rich keep evolving? The wealthy understand this principle deeply. If you don't grow, your leverage disappears. That's why they constantly learn new skills, enter new industries, build new habits, reposition their identity, reinvent their careers, redefine what they're capable of. They treat growth like a requirement, not an option, because they know comfort leads to decline. Growth leads to freedom. What happens when you choose to stop? Let's play this out. You stop learning. You stop stretching. You stop building. At first, nothing happens. You still get your paycheck. You still look successful. But slowly, your edge fades. Your confidence slips. Your income plateaus. Your relevance shrinks. And eventually, you're forgotten. Because while you were standing still, the world moved on. How to stay ahead in a fast-moving world? Here's the mindset shift. Stop thinking growth is optional. Start thinking of it as your duty. Number 1, learn relentlessly. Not when it's urgent, but every single day. Read, listen, explore, ask. Number 2, stay curious. Ask questions that keep you uncomfortable. Hang around people who challenge your thinking. Number 3, don't wait to be obsolete. Disrupt yourself. Upgrade before you're outdated. Shift before you're forced to stay the same. The world owes you nothing. It's not cruel, just fast. It rewards momentum. It forgets the stagnant. So ask yourself, number 1, when was the last time I truly grew? Number 2, when was the last time I scared myself for the right reasons? Number 3, am I moving forward or just not moving at all? Because in today's world, staying the same is the riskiest thing you can do. You don't have to be the fastest, but if you stop, you disappear. So keep growing or get left behind.
You can't play big with a small mindset. A big life can't grow in a small mind. It doesn't matter how talented you are, or how many skills you've mastered, or how much money you've saved. If your thinking is small, your results will always be small. Because the size of your success will never outgrow the size of your mindset. What is a small mindset? A small mindset is driven by fear, doubt, and limitation.
It sounds like, what if I fail? That's too risky. People like me don't do things like that. Let me stay where it's safe. Who am I to think that big? It constantly looks down, not up. It sees ceilings, not opportunities. It clings to the past, not the future. A small mindset doesn't build anything new. It survives, protects, hides, and slowly it shrinks your entire life. Big opportunities require big thinking. Here's what most people miss. Success isn't just about strategy, it's about capacity. If your vision is small, you'll only spot small doors. You'll only take small steps. You'll only say yes to small chances. Even if a big opportunity shows up, you'll say no, because your mind isn't big enough to hold it. You'll disqualify yourself before the world even gets the chance. The rich think bigger, always. Wealthy people think differently. When they see a problem, they ask, how can I turn this into a business? When they see a gap, they ask, how can I create value here? When they see themselves stuck, they ask, what mindset do I need to break through? They don't just want to survive the week, they want to dominate the decade. Their goals aren't just about income, they're about impact, freedom, and legacy. Because they understand, if you want to play big, you need a mind that can handle the weight. Your mindset is the gatekeeper of your future. Think of your life like a container. The size of the container determines how much you can hold. If your container, your mindset, is small, even if life hands you more, you'll leak it, waste it, reject it. You'll sabotage success, you'll undervalue yourself, you'll play down your potential, you'll shrink your dreams to match your fears. But when your mindset expands, so does everything else. Signs you're operating with a small mindset. It can be subtle, but here are the warning signs. You dismiss big goals as unrealistic. You criticize people who take bold risks. You fear judgment more than regret. You settle, even when something inside you wants more. That's not humility, that's limitation, and it's keeping you from the life you're meant to live. How to expand your mindset to match the life you want. Here's how to level up from small thinking. 1. Challenge your beliefs ruthlessly. Ask, who told me this was impossible? Is it true or just familiar? 2. Surround yourself with people who think bigger. Your circle shapes your ceiling. If you're the smartest or most driven in the room, find a new room. 3. Train your mind like a muscle. Read bold ideas. Listen to powerful stories. Expose yourself to new paradigms daily. 4. Act before you feel ready. Small minds wait for permission. Big minds create momentum and grow into the challenge. You don't get a big life with a cautious mind. You don't build wealth with a survival mindset. You don't rise by shrinking your vision to fit other people's fears. The life you want requires a mind that's brave enough to hold it. So stop asking, am I capable? Start asking, what would someone with a bigger mindset do right now? Because in the end, your mindset is not just a mirror of your life. It's the mold that shapes it.
They lied to you. Comfort was never the goal. You were trained to chase comfort, but the truth is, it was never meant to make you happy. It was meant to keep you obedient. Let that settle in for a moment. From childhood, you were conditioned to believe success means comfort. Stability means you've made it. Life is about arriving at a place where you can finally relax. But here's the truth that breaks the illusion. Comfort is not the reward, it's the trap. And the longer you stay in it, the more it costs you. The comfort narrative is manufactured. Let's break it down. Society taught you to get a safe job, settle into a stable life,
Buy things to feel secure, avoid discomfort at all costs. They called it maturity. They called it responsibility. They called it the smart path. But ask yourself, who benefits when you play it safe? Who profits when you stay small? Who gains when you're too comfortable to question or change? Because it's not you. Comfort is easy to sell and expensive to keep. Companies sell comfort. Governments reward compliance. Marketing preys on your desire to finally relax. Comfort becomes a product, an identity, a dream. And once you buy into it, you stop moving. You stop reaching. You stop thinking for yourself. Comfort turns rebels into consumers, dreamers into employees, leaders into followers, and the world calls it success. The truth, growth happens outside of comfort. Every breakthrough in your life came from discomfort. The skill you learned when you were struggling. The decision you made when you were scared. The strength you built when life tested you. Not one of those came from being comfortable. Growth is born in friction, in challenge, in the unknown. But you were told to fear those things, to run from them, to believe that peace equals comfort. But real peace isn't found in the absence of discomfort. It's found in the presence of progress. The rich don't chase comfort. They master it, then move on. Wealthy people understand this deeply. They don't avoid comfort, but they don't worship it either. They use it strategically, like a rest stop, not a final destination. They say, I'm comfortable now, that means it's time to level up. I've mastered this, what's next? Comfort is a signal I'm not growing fast enough. Because they know, comfort isn't success. Comfort is the beginning of decline if you stay in it long enough. What comfort costs you? Comfort has a price, and it's higher than you think. It costs your ambition, because dreaming big feels like too much effort. Your potential, because you stop pushing your limits. Your curiosity, because new things feel threatening. Your confidence, because you forget how strong discomfort made you. And your freedom, because dependence feels easier than responsibility. The most dangerous prison is the one with soft pillows and predictable days. Are you truly happy or just numb? Here's the most painful truth of all. Most people who say they're comfortable aren't actually fulfilled. They're just numb. Numb to boredom. Numb to their own unlived potential. Numb to the voice inside them that once wanted more. They've confused not struggling with truly living. But deep down, they feel it. The itch, the restlessness, the quiet voice that asks, is this all there is? And they push it away with distractions, routines, and the next purchase. Because facing it means waking up. And waking up means changing. How to escape the comfort trap? You don't have to throw your life into chaos, but you do need to break the trance. 1. Challenge your comfort zones daily. Do things that make you think, sweat, or stretch. 2. Choose growth over ease. Ask, will this make me better or just more comfortable? 3. Set goals that scare you a little. Comfort doesn't build legacy. Courage does. 4. Redefine success. It's not how smooth your life looks. It's how much impact you create while you're alive. They lied to you. Comfort wasn't the goal. It was the bait. You weren't made for comfort. You were made for purpose, for fire, for greatness, for movement. So don't ask, how can I stay safe? Ask, what would I pursue if I stopped chasing comfort and started chasing growth? Because comfort might look like freedom, but only growth will set you free.
Predictable lives, forgettable outcomes. The more predictable your life becomes, the more invisible your impact becomes. It sounds harsh, but it's real. Most people aren't living badly, they're just living predictably. And over time, predictability turns into obscurity. Because here's the truth. A predictable life might keep you comfortable, but it won't make you unforgettable. Predictability feels safe, but it builds nothing new. Let's look at what most lives look like. Wake up,
Go to work, finish tasks, come home, watch something, sleep, repeat. Week after week, month after month, year after year. You know what's coming. You know what's next. And for some, that feels like peace. But over time, that predictability turns into invisibility. No new ideas, no new skills, no new risks, no new legacy. Just repetition. Just existence. Just background noise in your own story. Why predictability leads to forgettability? Ask yourself, who do you remember? Who made you think, feel, or change? Who created something that moved the world forward? Who inspired you to become more? Were they predictable? Or were they bold, uncomfortable, unusual, different? No one remembers the person who did exactly what everyone expected. They remember the ones who took a different path, who challenged the script, who broke the rhythm, who made life feel alive again. Society rewards predictable, then replaces it. Let's be honest, the world loves when you're predictable, because predictable people follow orders, obey rules, don't ask questions, show up on time, don't make waves, fit into boxes. But here's the part no one tells you. Once you stop being useful, they replace you. Quietly, quickly, without warning. Because predictability doesn't create value. It just fills a slot. And when that slot changes, you're gone. The rich know. Predictable equals replaceable. Wealthy people understand this trap. They know that the second you become predictable, you lose leverage. You lose power. You lose attention. So they disrupt themselves on purpose. They switch industries. They reinvent their brand. They add new skills. They challenge their own systems. They keep their edge sharp. They stay unpredictable. So they stay unforgettable. Because they know if you want to stand out in a noisy world, you have to do what others don't expect. Signs you're living a predictable life. It's not always obvious, but if you relate to these, pay attention. You can predict your entire week without thinking. You haven't done anything new in months. You feel numb more than excited. You avoid risks, even small ones. You're doing things just to keep the peace. You haven't been surprised by your own decisions in a long time. That's not balance. That's sleepwalking. How to escape the predictability trap? You don't have to burn everything down, but you do have to break the cycle. 1. Shock your system. Change your schedule. Start a new habit. Say yes to something that scares you. 2. Get around unpredictable people. Creatives, builders, dreamers. Let their energy remind you what's possible. 3. Build something that's not guaranteed. A business, a brand, a mission. Something that forces you to grow or get left behind. 4. Refuse to be average. Average is easy. Unforgettable is earned. The world doesn't need more predictability. It needs people who light it up, who shock it awake, who leave fingerprints no one can erase. A predictable life won't challenge you, and it won't change anyone else. So ask yourself, if I keep living like this, will the world even notice I was here? If the answer scares you, good. It means your soul is waking up. And that's where real legacy begins.
Security systems are built to keep you small. The more secure the system, the less you're allowed to grow inside it.
We all crave security, a secure job, a secure income, a secure future. It sounds noble, responsible, even smart. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most systems built for your security aren't designed for your freedom. They're designed for your obedience. What is a security system? Let's define it. A security system is any structure that promises stability, predictability, protection, guarantees. In exchange, you give up control, autonomy, creativity, risk-taking. The deal sounds fair until you realize what you've traded away. You didn't get security, you got small. The illusion of safety. Let's talk about the safe path everyone promotes. Get a degree, find a stable job, save 10%, retire at 65, and hope it all works out. Sounds familiar, right? But here's what that path really means. You sell your time. You follow someone else's rules. You earn just enough to stay, but not enough to leave. You become dependent on a paycheck you don't control. You're rewarded for being compliant, not creative. And worst of all, you build someone else's dream while feeling grateful you were safe. Why security systems are dangerous for growth? Because they punish deviation. They discourage ambition. They filter out the dreamers. They suppress rebellion. You want more? That makes you difficult. You question the rules? That makes you a risk. You try something new? You're warned to play it safe. Over time, you shrink your voice. You lower your standards. You convince yourself to settle. Not because you're weak, but because the system told you this was success. The rich build systems. They don't obey them. Here's the key difference. The poor and middle class live inside security systems. The rich build them. The job you work at? A rich person created it. The bank you save in? A rich person owns it. The company that controls your retirement? A rich person profits from it. The media that tells you what success looks like? Controlled by those who benefit from your obedience. Wealthy people understand. Security isn't given, it's designed, it's owned, it's monetized. They create structures that give others the illusion of safety while they retain the real power, control, flexibility, leverage, ownership. Security without ownership is a trap. Security only serves you if you own the terms. If you don't, your job can disappear. Your benefits can change. Your future can be decided by someone else's spreadsheet. And in that moment, you'll realize you weren't secure. You were dependent. Signs you're stuck in a security system. Ask yourself, do I avoid risk even when it could lead to growth? Do I feel trapped by the very structure that was supposed to protect me? Am I following rules I didn't choose because they feel safe? Am I building something I own or maintaining something they do? Would everything fall apart if I stopped showing up? If your answer is yes, you're not secure, you're caged. How to reclaim your freedom inside the system? You don't need to burn it all down, but you do need to outgrow it. 1. Build your own leverage. Start a side hustle. Learn a high-value skill. Create assets. Give yourself options. 2. Think like an owner. Even inside a job, ask, how would I do this differently if I ran it? 3. Use the system. Don't let it use you. Collect the check, then invest it in your own future. Use the benefits, but don't let them sedate your ambition. 4. Design your own plan. Don't let your life be shaped by someone else's spreadsheet. Write your own blueprint for wealth, freedom, and growth. Security isn't a bad thing, but when it becomes your god, it steals your greatness.
You were not born to stay small. You were born to expand, to rise, to rule. So ask yourself, am I living inside a system that protects me or one that controls me? Because safety that keeps you stuck is just a prettier version of fear. And you deserve more than that.
Your environment is controlling your ceiling. You're not stuck because of who you are. You're stuck because of where you are. Read that again. Most people blame themselves for not growing. I'm not motivated enough. I guess I'm not meant to succeed. Maybe I'm just not that type of person. But here's the truth. You can't outgrow a mindset that your environment keeps reinforcing. You can't expand in a space built to keep you small. Environment is stronger than willpower. You can have the strongest goals in the world, the clearest vision, the biggest ambition. But if every day you wake up in a place that drains your energy, surround yourself with people who play small, and repeat patterns that reward comfort over growth, you will shrink slowly. Not because you're lazy, but because you're outnumbered. Willpower fades, habits adapt, but your environment, it writes your future, whether you notice it or not. What is environment? It's not just your physical location. It's everything you allow around you every single day. The people you talk to, the conversations you hear, the habits you see, the beliefs you're surrounded by, the standards you're pressured to adopt, and most dangerously, the level of thinking you're told is normal. If everyone around you avoids risk, fears change, and celebrates mediocrity, you will start believing that's what life is, even if something inside you knows it's not. How environment shapes your ceiling. Think of your environment like a room with a ceiling. Every time you grow, you stand up a little taller. But if the ceiling is low, you hit it. You try to talk big dreams, they mock you. You try to invest, they call you reckless. You try to build something, they ask why you're not satisfied. You try to change, and they feel threatened. Eventually, you slouch. You conform. You stop standing tall. Not because your dream died, but because your environment suffocated it. The rich choose environments that stretch them. Wealthy people understand this on a deep level. Environment is not just influence, it's leverage, it's advantage, it's insulation. They pay to be in better rooms. They fly across the world to attend higher-level conversations. They leave hometowns that no longer reflect their vision. They seek discomfort because that's where the stretch is. And most of all, they never stay where their growth is unwelcome. Are you in a growth-blocking environment? Here are some signs. You feel drained after spending time with the same people. No one around you talks about money, mindset, or purpose. Your dreams feel too big for the room you're in. You hide your ambition so others won't feel uncomfortable. You've stopped sharing your goals because you know they won't get it. Your growth feels like a rebellion. If that feels familiar, you're not the problem. The room is. How to upgrade your environment without burning everything down. You don't need to cut everyone off. You just need to get intentional. 1. Curate your digital environment. Follow voices that challenge and inspire you. Unfollow those who drain or distract. 2. Seek out growth circles. Find masterminds, forums, communities, even online, where ambition is the baseline, not the exception. 3. Create space to think big. Find places that stimulate you. Change your scenery. Feed your brain. Breathe different air. 4. Audit your circle. Not with judgment, but with honesty. Ask, is this person stretching me or shrinking me? You become what you tolerate around you. It's not about blaming others. It's about choosing better standards. If your environment doesn't believe in growth, eventually,
Neither will you. But when you step into a room where greatness is normal, something changes in you. You lift your head, you sharpen your focus, you raise your standards, and suddenly, the ceiling is gone. Growth isn't just about effort, it's about exposure. If you stay in places that reward smallness, you'll live a life smaller than you were meant for. But the moment you step into a space that demands more from you, you'll start becoming someone you never thought possible. So ask yourself, is my environment fueling my future or feeding my fear? Because you're not stuck, you're just in the wrong room. And it's time to walk out.
Wealth rewards the brave, not the perfect. The world doesn't pay you for perfection. It pays you for courage. Perfection feels admirable. It sounds noble. It gives the illusion of control. But in reality, perfection is just fear, wearing a polished mask. It's the excuse you use to avoid action. It's the delay tactic that keeps you planning, tweaking, fixing, but never moving. And here's the brutal truth. Perfection is not what creates wealth. Courage is. The perfection trap. We all know it. I'll launch when it's ready. I need more experience first. It's not the right time. Just one more revision. It has to be perfect before I show anyone. These don't sound like excuses. They sound like strategy, but they're not. They're fear in disguise. Fear of being judged. Fear of making mistakes. Fear of being exposed as not enough. And while you hide behind perfect plans, someone else with half your talent is out there executing and winning. Courage moves, perfection waits. Courage says, it's not perfect, but it's ready enough. I'll learn while I go. Mistakes are part of mastery. I'd rather fail in motion than succeed in theory. That's the mindset of the wealthy. Not flawless, but fearless enough to start. Because they know, imperfect action always beats perfect hesitation. The market doesn't reward perfect, it rewards useful. Look around. The best-selling books aren't the most beautifully written. The most followed creators aren't the most polished. The most successful products aren't the most advanced. They're just the ones that shipped, the ones that showed up, the ones that solved a problem even if they weren't perfect. Because the market doesn't care how perfect you are. It cares if you're consistent. It cares if you're bold. It cares if you're out there. Perfection is a silent thief. It steals time, energy, confidence, opportunities, progress, momentum. You delay the launch. You sit on your idea. You replay the pitch in your head, but never deliver it. And while you're stuck preparing, life moves on. Perfection doesn't protect your reputation, it delays your evolution. The rich fail faster and wiser. You know what wealthy people are really good at? Failing early, failing often, failing forward. They try. They test. They tweak. They repeat. They build resilience, not reputation. They're not afraid to be wrong in public because they know that's how you get good in private. They understand success is built on messy starts and awkward first drafts, not polished fantasies. You don't need to be ready, you need to be brave. Let this sink in. You don't need the perfect website. You don't need every certification. You don't need all the answers. You don't need a flawless pitch. You don't need the right time. You need one thing:
enough courage to begin. Because once you're in motion, you learn faster, you grow stronger, you get sharper. And that momentum, it beats perfection every time. How to break the perfection habit. 1. Set deadlines, not fantasies. Decide this launches on date no matter what. 2. Aim for version 1, not version forever. Build something now, improve later. 3. Let failure teach you. If you mess up, good. That means you're doing the real work. 4. Celebrate bravery, not polish. Did you act today? Did you risk something? That's a win. Perfection is safe. Courage is costly. But one will keep you poor, the other will set you free. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You just need to be in motion while others are still waiting. So stop asking, is this perfect? Start asking, am I brave enough to do it anyway? Because wealth doesn't reward the flawless. It rewards the fearless.
The real cost of inaction is invisible until it's too late. Not acting doesn't feel like losing until the moment it's too late to win. There's a lie many people believe. If I don't act, at least I can't fail. It sounds safe. It feels logical. It gives you a false sense of control. But here's the truth no one wants to face. Inaction has a cost. A silent, invisible cost that compounds with time. And by the time you feel it, it's already too late. Why inaction feels harmless at first. Inaction is seductive. It's quiet. It's easy to justify. I'm just waiting for the right moment. Now's not the best time. I'll do it when I'm more ready. Maybe next month. I'm still thinking about it. And nothing bad seems to happen. You're still safe. You're still comfortable. You're still fine. But day by day, that decision not to move forward is moving you backward. What you lose when you do nothing. The cost of inaction isn't loud. It's slow, and that's why it's dangerous. Here's what you're losing without even realizing it. Time. You don't get those months or years back. Confidence. Every time you hesitate, your self-belief shrinks. Opportunities. Life doesn't pause. Chances expire. Momentum. Motion builds motion. Stopping kills it. Skill. Without practice, potential stays locked. Position. While you wait, someone else takes your place. You're not staying still. You're slowly being replaced by the brave. Inaction is a silent killer. Most people don't wake up and say, I wasted the last 5 years. It just happens, one day at a time. They look back and realize, the book was never written. The business was never launched. The relationship was never fixed. The dream was never chased. The investment was never made. Not because they failed, but because they never began. And the price of that is a life lived with haunting regret. The illusion of waiting for the right time. Here's what nobody tells you. There is no perfect time. Only time that's slipping. The market won't wait. Your body won't wait. Your dream won't wait. And one day, neither will your window of opportunity. You think you're waiting for clarity, but what you're really doing is avoiding discomfort. And comfort has never created anything worth remembering. Wealth is built by doers, not thinkers. Thinking is useful. Planning is important. Strategy matters. But action wins. Wealthy people don't always know everything. They just move anyway. Successful founders didn't wait for permission. They launched and learned. High performers don't wait to feel ready. They grow by doing. They understand. Doing something poorly today is better than doing nothing perfectly forever. How to break free from inaction. 1. Create consequence for doing nothing. Ask yourself, if I stay like this for 5 more years, what happens? 2. Shorten the decision window. Don't wait for certainty. Choose, act, adjust. 3. Track action, not just ideas. Measure how many things you actually do, not how many you think about. 4. Surround yourself with action takers. Inaction is contagious. So is boldness. What happens when you finally move? The moment you act, you break the spell. You reclaim your time. You reawaken your fire. You realize it wasn't that hard. You were always capable. You just needed movement. You just needed courage. You just needed a start. And from that moment on, your life starts compounding in the right direction. You won't always regret failing, but you'll always regret not trying. Inaction doesn't protect you. It robs you, quietly, daily, relentlessly. So stop asking, what if it doesn't work? Start asking, what will it cost me if I don't try at all? Because the price of doing nothing is everything you were meant to become.
You can't afford to be normal anymore. Being normal used to be safe. Now, it's the fastest way to stay broke, forgotten, and replaceable. There was a time when doing what everyone else did could give you a good life. Go to school, get a degree, work a job, pay your bills, retire at 65. But that world no longer exists. And the truth is, in today's world, normal isn't working. It's sinking. The system sold you a normal dream. You were told, fit in, don't stand out too much, follow the plan, do it like everyone else, be realistic. And you believed it because everyone around you did the same. But let's be honest, is normal helping people thrive? Are most people around you free, wealthy, and fulfilled? Or are they tired, trapped, and treading water? Because normal now means living paycheck to paycheck, doing work you don't love, worrying about bills, silently resenting your life, pretending you're okay. That's not safety. That's slow decline. Being normal now means being average, and average is dying. The average job? At risk of automation or outsourcing. The average degree? No longer guarantees income or relevance. The average attention span? Hijacked by distractions. The average person? Drowning in debt, disconnected from purpose, living for the weekend. And yet, we're still told to aim for normal. Why? Because normal people are easier to manage. The rich chose to be different, on purpose. Here's the truth wealthy people know. If you want an extraordinary life, you have to stop doing ordinary things. They questioned what school never taught them. They built when others consumed. They invested when others spent. They spoke up when others stayed silent. They chose growth over comfort, again and again. And guess what? They got called crazy, arrogant, unrealistic, until it worked. Then they got called lucky. Normal thinking produces predictable struggles. When you think like the crowd, you suffer like the crowd. The crowd avoids risk, so they stay broke. The crowd complains, so they never create. The crowd consumes content instead of building something worth watching. The crowd works for money, but never learns how to make money work for them. If you follow the crowd, you follow them right into the trap they didn't even know they were in, because the masses are not going where you want to go. They're going in circles. You can't stand out if you think like everyone else. Want to be remembered?
Be different. Want to build something lasting? Be bold. Want to attract opportunity, wealth, and respect? Be unignorable. That means have opinions, make moves, ignore trends, think deeper, say no to what's easy, say yes to what's rare. Because if you do what everyone does, you'll get what everyone gets. And right now, most people are getting crushed. How to stop being normal and start building power? 1. Question everything you were taught. Challenge the path. Break the script. Ask, is this actually working? Build, don't blend. Don't fit in. Build a brand, build a skill, build a voice. Make your presence matter. Upgrade your inputs. Stop watching what the masses watch. Consume power. Learn from those who've done it. Reject average speed. Move faster. Decide quicker. Normal people wait. Winners move. Being normal might help you survive, but it will never help you lead, grow, or become free. You weren't made to blend in. You were built to break through. So stop asking, will people approve of this? Start asking, will this move me beyond average? Because the truth is, you can't afford to be normal anymore. The cost is too high, and the reward for being different has never been greater.
When the game is rigged, stop playing by the rules. If the rules weren't made for you to win, why are you still following them? There's a quiet truth that most people suspect, but are too afraid to say out loud. The game was never fair. The rules were never neutral, and success was never meant for everyone. Because the system you live in wasn't designed to set you free. It was designed to keep you in line. What is the game? The game is the social contract you were handed at birth. Go to school, get good grades, get a degree, find a job, work 40 years, save what's left, retire if you're lucky. It's the unspoken path, the scripted life, the system-approved journey. And for a long time, it looked like it worked. But now, the rules are broken, and following them is the fastest way to lose. The signs the game is rigged. Look around. People with college degrees are unemployed. People working 2 jobs still can't pay rent. Inflation eats your savings faster than you can earn. You're taxed for earning, not for owning. The richest people pay the least and sleep the best. Effort no longer equals outcome. And yet, you're told to work harder, wait your turn, be patient, play nice. But here's the truth. If the rules only serve those who made them, it's not a system, it's a trap. Why you keep playing anyway? Because you were trained to obey, not to question, not to disrupt, not to think bigger. You were taught, follow the rules and you will be rewarded. Be a good student. Don't challenge the system. Don't ask for too much. And when the rewards didn't come, you blamed yourself. Not the game, not the rules, not the system that was built to keep you just comfortable enough to never fight back. The rich don't play the game, they rewrite it. Wealthy people don't win because they're lucky. They win because they don't play the same game. They don't trade time for money, they buy time with money. They don't follow job paths, they create income streams. They don't work for retirement, they build freedom now. They don't follow school systems, they build education systems. They don't ask permission, they build platforms. They saw the game was rigged, so they stopped playing by its rules.
and they started building their own. You can't beat a rigged game by playing fair. If the system wasn't built for you, stop trying to win inside it. Start thinking like an outsider, like an architect, like a rebel with a vision. Ask, what rules am I blindly following? Who benefits when I play it safe? What if the way out isn't compliance, but creation? Because once you see the game, you can't unsee it. And once you question the rules, you're finally free to build something better. How to stop playing by rigged rules. 1. Question every should. Anytime you say, I should do this, ask, according to who? And does it actually serve me? 2. Create income. Don't just earn it. Build things. Own assets. Multiply money. Don't depend on wages alone. 3. Use the system. Don't just worship it. Yes, use what works, but never forget who it's designed to serve. 4. Think in terms of leverage, not labor. Your brain, brand, network, and skills can move mountains. Stop selling your hours. Start scaling your impact. You're not broken. The game is. And once you realize that, you can stop punishing yourself for not winning a system that never had your name on the trophy. You don't rise by following the rules of a game built to keep you average. You rise by building a game of your own. So stop asking, what's the right way to play? Start asking, what if I stopped playing and started building? Because when the game is rigged, the only way to win is to walk off the board and build your own table.
The life you want is on the other side of the risk you're avoiding. Everything you've ever wanted is waiting for you, just on the other side of the thing you're too afraid to do. This is the truth no one can escape, and it's the final line in the story you've been writing every day. The life, the freedom, the wealth, the confidence, the version of you that feels alive, it's not hiding. It's just sitting on the other side of the exact risk you keep avoiding. Why the right risk feels like the wrong one. The big move always feels wrong at first. Quitting the job, launching the business, moving cities, saying no to the crowd, saying yes to the unknown, investing when it feels uncomfortable, speaking your truth when silence is safer. These things, they make your heart race. They make your stomach drop. They make your inner voice scream, what if I lose everything? But ask yourself, what if I lose more by staying here? What if the bigger risk is playing it safe for the rest of your life? Risk isn't the problem. Avoidance is. We were taught to fear risk, but in truth, risk is the only path to something better. Avoiding risk is how you guarantee regret. No risk equals no change. No change equals no growth. No growth equals no freedom. It's that simple. The pattern of the brave. Every person you admire, every story that inspired you, started with a moment of fear. A moment where the person stood at a crossroads. One path looked safe, the other looked dangerous. And they chose the dangerous one, not because they weren't scared, but because they were done living small. They didn't feel ready. They felt called, and they moved anyway. The wealthy don't fear risk. They respect it. They study it. They step into it with clarity, not comfort. They ask, what's the upside? What am I really afraid of? What will happen if I never take this shot? What kind of person will I become if I do this, even if I fail? Because they know
The risk isn't the leap. The risk is the version of themselves they'll never meet if they don't leap. There is no perfect moment, only a point of no return. You think you'll feel ready one day. You won't. You think it'll stop being scary one day. It won't. But if you keep waiting for comfort, you'll wake up in a life you don't recognize. One that looks fine on the outside, but feels dead on the inside. Because the door to everything you want was right there all along, and you never walked through it. How to walk into the risk you've been avoiding. 1. Name the fear clearly. Not just, I'm scared, but I'm afraid of failing publicly and being judged. Clarity dissolves confusion. 2. Ask what happens if you don't act. Fast forward 5 years. Where are you if nothing changes? 3. Shrink the first step. You don't have to leap off a cliff. You just have to lean forward and keep moving. 4. Borrow courage. If you can't be brave for yourself yet, be brave for the person you could become. Final thought, the closing line. This is the truth. Your next level of life is already here, but it's wearing a mask called risk. And every time you avoid it, you're saying no to a life that's bigger than your fear. So ask yourself, for real this time, what am I really waiting for? Because comfort won't build your future. Avoidance won't protect your soul. Silence won't give you a voice. Safety won't make you rich. Only this will. A decision. A step. A risk embraced. Because in the end, the life you want doesn't come when you're ready. It comes when you're brave enough to stop waiting.